Let's talk about navigating the ruthless current job market. And this is a strategic playbook for my Gen Z friends, for Gen Z professionals trying to earn their way in or keep their position in this current turbulent market. So, how did this idea come about this article? I hear a lot of criticism about the Gen Z. Hey, kids these days are just not the same, yada yada. I don't feel like it's entirely fair. If I had graduated in this current time, man, it would have done some damage. I would have been stressed. I would have been worried, and my anxiety would have been peak. And there's a lot of things going on disrupting the opportunities that Gen Zs have. So I don't think it's entirely fair to be out here criticizing this generation when there's several things that we need to talk about. But also, hey, it's not all doom and gloom. In this video, in this article that we've wrote, there I have suggested some very specific things you can do to enhance your chances, improve your opportunities, and just make sure you're getting some results. There's nothing wrong with also playing. I want to say that there's nothing wrong currently with also playing for stability. Everybody's talking about, oh, you need to be making $1 million and all that. But hey, when things are tough, playing for stability is important because from there, not only do you learn, not only do you build resiliency, do you upskill, from there you can then scale down the road. And keeping your position is just as important as the other one, but often overlooked. So the full article is in our website. If you go to rippicular.com, you go to blog, you can find the full article. And fun little disclaimer here. Now everybody's always thinking everything is AI, so I felt it was important to write this for you. So the disclaimer is written from the heart and human fingers. AI was only used for post editing. Please read it in full, and I packed as much value as I could here to respect the time that you're dedicating and your attention that you're dedicating to this, to us. We at Rippicular thank you, and we wish you many wins. So it's a quick read, but also I want to talk about it. And just for fun, I brought up the draft that I wrote myself. Just for proof. Okay, so going on into the presentation. Obviously, a lot of you are probably feeling behind. Don't take it as a weakness. The context is reframe it. The environment simply has changed and you're adapting in real time. So what has worked all this time, what's been considered the norm, etc., that perception has to change, and we have to recognize that we're playing in a different board now. So first of all, we kind of have to scrap a lot of that general understanding of what has been or what is considered the accepted standards in the workplace, in the marketplace, especially with the AI disruption. But let's talk about what Gen Z is currently dealing with. What makes it, in my opinion, and it's a fact, honestly, not fair for current Gen Z people. So number one, they're facing economic pressure. Since 2020, I know the reports comes out. On the higher end, 7-8% inflation. Inflation has been 2-3%. But let's take into effect cumulative inflation since 2020. How much more expensive have things gotten? And that's 27.6%. So what does that do? That puts a lot of pressure where you're having to work extra hours, overtime, get a second job, or simply the stress taking away your energy and your willpower for upskilling. Learning naturally has to be a part of your long-term success. Taking your time, going about it the right way, looking for the right sources of information, of skills, and then spending time learning it. But with economic pressure, a lot of Gen Z are unfortunately bypassing the learning process just to survive. So can't blame you. Now, is it important to stay learning? Absolutely. And we're going to talk about how you guys can get a little bit more control over all this process. Second, there is the market concentration. 29% of entry-level jobs um, have been shrunk since January 2024. That is brutal. In just what, 2 years now, 29% is just makes it very difficult for all the recent graduates. And the data just keeps coming out. The reports, the news that graduates are taking longer and longer to be employed. And if they do get employed, they're not being they're not finding the opportunities that are actually what they went to school for, what they're passionate about, and so they're having to take detours just to take care of the bills and make sure you don't starve and end up on the streets, right? So AI is a big culprit in this. Corporate restructuring, tightening of things plays a factor into it. Have played a factor into it. Now, here's the other thing that it caused. With this restructuring and the AI, it's not just entry-level jobs. Some industries where have faced major disruptions, and that is more experienced professionals, more veterans in different fields are now having to come back to the job market as free agents, and now they're competing with recent graduates. So imagine yourself being a Gen Z competing with people with a lot more experience, sending in resumes and competing with you for a lot of times those entry level jobs just because they lost something more valuable and they're having to do something in the short term. Very, very tough. The pandemic lag. I know it's been a couple of years, but hear me out. Pandemic, work from home, yeah, in the short term, it was fun for some people. It was kind of cool playing video games, watching Netflix, trading, whatever it is that you were doing. But it limited you from in person upskilling, um, shadowing, getting in with mentors. And unfortunately, your position is solidified, and a lot of promotions are acquired with the elephant in the room: politics, office politics. It is a game that you have to play. Even if you say, hey, I don't play politics, guess what? It's going to play you. We're all chess pieces on that board. So the pandemic lag for a lot of Gen Z during the pandemic, they were actually early on in their career, in their role, or they were still studying. And and then towards the end of the pandemic coming in. Either way, it sets them back. So not very fair for the current Gen Z. By the way, I have a little boy, 4 years old, so I get very worried about the future too. And I'm always thinking about this, and it does cause me some anxiety, some stress. And a big part of changing things are different generations working together to navigate this very turbulent waters. So the game is not currently fair, right? But you still have to play it and play it right. As much as we want to say, hey, screw this, it's not fair, you have no choice. So guess what? Let's get out there, let's learn the game. And today I'm going to give you some tools and a little bit of a nudge forward. Do my little part, do our little part here at Rippicular to equip you with something that can bring you some success, or at least get that foot through the door so that you can be more exposed to new opportunities. So you have to increase your tools, upskill beyond your primary discipline. You can be a coder, you can be a nurse, but if you are not learning other skills that can complement what your primary skill is and setting yourself apart from the competition, law of the jungle, unfortunately, you might not be making enough noise or standing out enough to get opportunities that are quite frankly, being presented to others or others are taking advantage of. Improve direction. I felt the need to put this here because hustle culture has become this big thing. At its core, at its pure core, it's about self mastery and doing things. But for some reason, it has been bastardized a little bit, in my opinion, where if you're not working yourself to the bone, if you're not stressing out, if every waking moment is dedicated to this, yet you're not succeeding. But what it does, it lacks direction and it lacks alignment in that conversation, in that hustle culture. There are people that are teaching it right, but you risk working hard at the wrong thing, pushing at the wrong thing, and that is time lost. So I'd rather you focus, zoom out on that chessboard, play the game right, and then start moving with intent and alignment. And at the end of the day, we are human beings. You have to have some balance, but of course, yes, it is important to try harder every day, improve every day. But I'm not going to be one of those people to say, hey, why are you spending time with your family and friends? You shouldn't do that. No, that's not fair. And if you're more stressed, you're making more mistakes. If you're more desperate, that energy repulses people. So it's not just about the push, it's about the pull. Are you pulling opportunities? And the hustle culture does not recognize that enough, in my opinion. So it will evolve. I have faith that a lot of people will start realizing what really, really works and what makes the marketplace a better place for everyone, ultimately. So everything that we're doing from a purely mathematical and statistical sense is about raising your odds, okay? Build systems to ride the wave of uncertainty, but also that allows you to perform bad days, good days, adding consistency to what you do. From a pure volume and mathematical perspective, the more you do with the better alignment, it just is a matter of time before you land somewhere that is, well, a great spot to be. So, what you have to think, what do you do better than the tool that is AI? Yes, initially when things comes in, they are overhyped, but there is some truth to it. It is a very competent tool, but it is a tool. So you have to think of what it does and what it does not do. So what does it not do? It does not create authentic interpersonal connections. Now here's what that's important. Whether you're dealing business to consumer, this is more direct. Hey, you can have a stronger immediate influence. But what's often forgotten is that even if you're dealing with other companies on emails and procedures and pitches, and both parties are hiding behind technology, let's not forget that behind all those layers of technology are people influencing each other, people making decisions. And the more saturated the AI usage becomes, the more people will start craving authentic interpersonal connection. It is more important now than ever to develop this skill. And we're going to go more in depth about that, exactly how. But yes, AI and automation have become increasingly disruptive, taking over pure technical execution. So you have to add something to it for you to be a utilizer of the tool rather than you being simply a tool or a small cog in a machine that is very limited in your capacity and your skill set, thus easily being replaced. So, sales. It has a stigma, but here's why interpersonal relationship mastery ultimately is mastering sales. Now, here's the stigma. Here's why sales gets a bad rep. The stigma. Sales is manipulative. It's about talking to people. It's about talking people into things, right? We have tons of content and people out there pushing this idea that it's about bullying others into submission. Rippicular's motto, we put it for a reason, where it's collaboration, not domination. And it makes me cringe, right? So, what sales actually is and why it's not just for salespeople, Sales is alignment. It's a communication mastery and asking better questions. It's simply influencing others with integrity. I'm going to add expertise here. If things make sense, how can we incorporate education in the process also? How can we incorporate a framework so that we can generate better qualified attention? And by qualified attention, I mean attention that is relevant to the solution that you provide. And then with that attention, invite collaboration with your audience in that collaborative aspect, whether it's one-to-one, one-to-many, you are creating outcomes. And I think at its core, it is a beautiful thing. And it's about time that there's more people, more organizations, including us, making more noise about what sales and consultative sales actually is and eliminating some of that stigma that's being associated with it. A lot of that bad rep. Unfortunately, a lot of the sales industry have attracted a lot of dishonest people, and that's why it gets the bad rep. So who could use this, right? That are not salespeople. Let's say you're a developer pitching a roadmap to the organization. The more people buy into your idea, the more influence you have within the organization. The more of your projects get picked up, the more your odds are of increasing your pay, getting other offers, or getting promoted. A nurse advocating for a patient. When a nurse or somebody in the medical field uh, has proper communication, it's been proven time and time again. Not only does it improve the reputation of the individual, but also of the organization and of the patient as a whole. And overall, you want to be that trusted medical practice or location or therapy or chiropractor, whatever the case may be, where people say, hey, I know somebody that can fix you. I know somebody that can help you with this. And I know somebody that can actually listen to me. A professional negotiating compensation, even if it's just a job interview, incorporating the sales process, the consultative sales process and framework can be very advantageous, right? Now, going back into that hustle culture thing that we're talking about, let's say you're just working hard. Let me send 1,000, 2,000 resumes. Well, if the resume is not being aligned properly, if you're not actually taking time with it and you're just playing a volume game, you're wasting a lot of effort. How about spending a lot of extra time talking to people, getting advice, talking to other experts, and crafting that resume number one well? And once you get more specific job applications, not just spamming it, then not only increasing your preparation, but that resume is better crafted. So now you're standing out more. So you're getting more responses. So you do a lot more with 100 resumes sent rather than 1,000 or 10,000. So just pure brute force hard work is not the answer. There's just not enough hours in the day, and don't risk insanity. You'll go crazy of doing that all the time. Remember, it's about the pull, not just the push. Okay, so I'm going to give you two different playbooks. One is, let's say I don't have currently a job. As a Gen Z, I don't currently have a job. How do I get an opportunity? Or how do I earn an interview? Or how do I get employment? And other one is, hey, I'm already with a company. I want to keep differentiating myself. I want to keep strengthening my position within the company and increase my job security and just overall have a more healthy career. That is one of the best medicines to controlling that stress, controlling that anxiety, right? So let's say you're within an organization. This is a quick tip, a quick guide. Whenever you take projects, no matter what field you're in, incorporate these 3 steps. First step is a pre-task clarification. You are involving others, you're aligning with peers and leadership before starting. It lets them express and realize the value of the task. I think one of the most important, more valuable things is, rather than me telling you, hey, this is a valuable task, instead, if you're part of the process and we're having a discussion and you tell me, I see how this task could be valuable in A, B, and C. That is a lot more powerful than me trying to push that value on you because it's also coming from you, but it's coming from you in a collaborative manner. I've had a part to play with that. So, number one, pre-task clarification gets you in a little bit of more stable footing. As you're executing on the task, on the project, set the expectation before so they're not surprised and you don't come off as needy and clingy. There's a way to do it right with the right finesse is you communicate your progress clearly. It opens the room and progressively, consistently, it opens the room for more resources. You can say, hey, I'm working on such and such. I'm coming across this bottleneck. I'm coming across this resistance. This system is not working well with this system. It allows, rather than you yourself wrecking your head and losing your nerves and getting stressed out and not sleeping at night, it allows others to position or suggest resources to make the execution of a task a little bit smoother and increase the probability of success. So it also avoids pitfalls. You might be headed in the slightly wrong direction. It allows for correction and ensures more success. Remember, being corrected is not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of learning can come with it. And if you zoom out, it tends to be really good for your career, even if in the moment it feels like you're dipping, right? Kind of like the stock market. And then once you complete the project, we go into post-evaluation, post-completion evaluation. So we share the outcomes and learn, but there's an art to this. You're not saying me, me, me. Remember when I did this? I'm the man. I'm the best one. So no, put that ego aside and we make it pure procedural. Say, hey, I'd love to have a meeting, a pull-up, a connect, or you can ask for a slot during the weekly meeting, whatever the case may be, however you position it, however your organization works. But you basically want to have the opportunity to share that outcomes and feedback, recognizing the people that were influential to that project, the people that helped the project. And also, it allows others to recognize the effectiveness of the team, the effectiveness of the result, and low key, hush hush, how good you are, how impactful you were. And I want to share something with you guys. Perception is reality. You can be very good at what you do. Let's say you did everything alone and it's helping the company, but you stayed quiet about everything. You risk others seeing you as low to no value because what you put out there is what's perceived, and what's perceived is reality. That's the unfortunate truth. So guess what? This is what salesmanship is, right? Was this pressuring people? No, if on the opposite, it was about inviting. It's about sharing. It's about celebration. Sales, when done right, can be a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. So positioning is not ego, it's clarity. Your personal brand grows through real outcomes, not self-promotion. This is how the work speaks for itself, okay? So strengthen your position within the company that you're working in, my Gen Z friends, and let's not be on that a victim of restructuring or cuts, or if that unfortunately happens, you have more work to show you are more marketable. Say, hey, I did A, B, and C. This was the result. This is how I involved teammates. And guess what? You come in with those specifics on an interview, that is powerful because you're not just blowing smoke. You're hitting with specifics and with measurable outcomes. I don't know about you, but to me, that's a great potential employee. So choose your tactical playbook, my friends, based on where you are. Are you currently unemployed? Don't worry, I got you. I'm going to give you some pretty cool, neat stuff. Hey, if I pat myself on the back here, took me some time, but I put a lot of love to give you guys things that are actually beneficial and not just fluff and things you can immediately tell, oh, this is ChatGPT BS, right? I wrote this from the heart and with the intent of seeing real outcomes out there. So please let me know. Let me know how you customize it to work for you. How did it work for you? I would love a dialogue. Or, hey, how could be improved? I'm open to seeing how we can keep improving upon this, my friends. Remember, collaboration, not domination. And if you're within an organization, how we can do the retention plays. We can focus on stability and growth. So let's, both paths require bypassing traditional gatekeepers. So let's go into the playbook. Track one, the free value drop. So please don't have the mentality of always say, why would I do this? What's in for me before even starting things? People that are overly focused on take do not attract as much of good fortune. Let's put something out there, something positive that actually invites good fortune. And this is how we're going to do it. Research a company you love and the department that you love. What is your expertise and what does that company do? Find a project or find something that you're passionate about and do some free, unsolicited freelance work based on your expertise. Are you a great sketch artist for a marketing department that you want to get in? Draw it by hand, then provide a different copy based on the concept that you drew by hand, how you did this, and say, hey, and you find somebody that a key people within that department, within that company that could influence your fortune. And what you do is you say, hey, I have developed some pretty cool things that I think might be beneficial for your company, as a student or as a fan of the company, whatever the case may be. Find a way to make it pretty. Would love your insight into this specific thing that I designed that you oversee or that is based on the territory or region that you cover. That could be a marketing research. It could be a design. It could be, what else, guys? It could be a customer service plan. It could be like, hey, I've done some extensive, in-depth research of your customer onboarding, and here are the ways they're complaining. Here are some suggestions that I brainstormed. What do you think? I think that's the best job interview you can do. Yes, it takes more time, but do you guys see how you're not brute forcing the process? Instead of sending 100 copy pasted emails, messages to people on LinkedIn, you're sending 15, 10, 20 well crafted, well targeted ones that people are actually going to be like, hey, that's different. This guy's actually did this. That shows initiative. That shows like, hey, this person is somebody that can be relied upon. And that's going to get you more results. So this is what I mean by alignment. I don't want to just say, give you cliches and without any specifics. So this is one of the specific plays. Reach out directly and say, hey, I built this. I would love your feedback. Find a nice way to make it. Please don't just send it to GPT and do it. I like to write things out myself and then doing several drafts with GPT or Claude and making sure the essence of the message is still you, at its core is still you. Are you a cheeky person? Are you a serious person? Are you a little bit nerdy? That's what makes you unique. Don't try to drown that and sound like everybody else, because then you're just drowned in the noise. Now, second playbook, smart prospecting. It's going to feel a little bit like stalking, but here's how it's going to work. We're going to do the same research. You're going to identify the companies, target company watering holes. So kind of little National Geographic terminology here, but where people go for coffee, shops, smoke breaks, community events, nearby sports center. At this point, you're a hunter. Let's just address the elephant in the room. You have to know how your prey operates. Prey in the sense, just for the pure analogy of like, okay, they have some access that could be beneficial to you. You show up consistently. You learn how to start conversations right. Even, and please don't be creepy about this. Don't stalk them, but find a way to initiate conversations casually. Say, hey, somebody's reading a book. Hey, I couldn't help but notice. What are you reading? Sorry to disturb you. Have manners, be respectful, find cool ways to start casual conversations. Or you can be as simple as direct. Say, excuse me, I don't mean to, sorry for interrupting you, but here's what I am. Here's what some of the freelance work that I've done. I'm hoping to get a conversation or a phone call with somebody that makes decision for A, B, and C. By any chance, could you point me in the right direction? You'd be surprised. People, more often than not, I believe strongly in the human spirit and resilience, want to do good, want to help others. The world is not as dark as a lot of people and a lot of media makes it out to be. If you keep asking, keep being respectful, keep having the right manners, keep creating value, even though you're not part of the company, you're going to find your way in. The other thing you can do also, besides LinkedIn, besides company, because with LinkedIn you can see where people check in and such, you can see community events if the company is involved in any upcoming community events, upcoming fundraisers, upcoming field work, whatever the case may be. Try to be there. This is going to take some work, but with proper research, you can just work 2-3 targets at a time, companies or people of interest. You do this consistently, this track 1 and track 2, there's no way that you do not get a result at some point, especially if you're doing it right. Again, be respectful, don't be creepy, and be consistent. And this shows that you're a person that gives, you're a person that is a team player, you're a person of value before you even demand anything. And that to me shows exceptional qualities, exceptional discipline. And at some point, it will feel like to the people of influence or the employers that they would be missing out if they did not at least entertain a conversation or interview with you. Yeah, we already talked about this. Sustained performance. So let's say now this is for the people within the companies. So how do you keep strengthening your position besides the projects that we were mentioning earlier? Seek mentor pairings, especially if you're early on within your career within that company. Real world observation plus guided reps accelerates competence. Do not bypass this. There's a reason why children imitate their parents first before we come in and say, hey, you should think about doing this, and getting a bit more abstract with it and allowing for that student to freestyle it, so to speak, and figure out on their own. No, at first, repetition with copying. And so that's why find mentor pairings. Find somebody, research first the right mentor, and then ask for shadowing. If no support is offered, and I hear this complaint sometimes, I've heard it throughout my career. Oh, my company did not train me right. My company did not give me enough support. Well, but you're sitting there passively waiting. Now, should they have supported you? Of course, of course. But not every company or organization is on their A game as far as training and onboarding. And a closed mouth does not get fed. You have to go, you have to ask, you have to request shadowing, and you have to risk interrupting people. You have to risk sometimes people finding you say, hey, why is he so persistent? But guess what? The alternative is even worse, is you not having the skill set to succeed. So this is a necessary discomfort in the game. Please do not stay quiet and hope things work out. Hope is not a viable strategy. Focus on framework over techniques, because especially for people in service and direct client-facing roles and sales roles, you have to avoid the trap of scripts and one-size-fits-all hacks. This is that 80s, 90s old school training that I don't know why prevails to this day, but people, number one, your audience, are becoming more and more savvy, and people can just feel a script and lack of sincerity, and that does not track. You could be making 100, 200 calls, but if you're not getting results, if you're not doing it right, what's the point? But imagine doing the right way 20 calls. Guess what? You're working smarter, getting a lot more results. That tends to piss off people that just try to brute force it. So you're going to hear me say it again and again. Alignment and direction. Action. Master the company workflow first. Okay. Break it down like an engineer to its most basic components. Okay. This is how the task is completed. When the client decides to move forward or this project it gets picked up, these are the steps to the project. Once you understand that, then from there, understand, okay, to exit the first workflow step, what are the criterias? People start bouncing around and freestyling it, and because they're not meeting the exact exit criteria, now the conversation does not stick. Now you come off as unprepared. Now you're wondering why, hey, we talked about our favorite sports, our favorite friends, but why am I not getting results on this? Well, guess what? You didn't follow a framework. You did not create influence. You did not align any solution to any needs or interests or curiosity that person might have. You brought no enhancement. So a framework allows you to have more replicable success. Don't invest until criteria are met. Frameworks allows for safe mistakes. Mistake is a part of the process, and with framework, it doesn't have to be perfect, but guess what? You will be getting a lot more results as you go. And frameworks work whether you're having a bad day, whether you're bored, whether you're tired. Guess what? It offloads some of that. It outsources it to the system, to the steps, to the procedure, to the structure, and you will start getting more results. Otherwise, you're depending on always being in a great mood to flow. And that is not a consistent strategy. Just like every athlete has to put in those reps. And you guys know, in every sport, the athletes that perform on the highest level are those that do not ignore the fundamentals and always stay working for it. The moment you think you are too advanced for the fundamentals is when the decline honestly happens. And we here at Rippicular are firm believers of that. So framework is part of your fundamentals. Do not disrespect it. Do not ignore it. Okay, now mindset thing. We were talking about there's so much noise online. And what it does, it creates a lot of anxiety and depression on Gen Z because you need to be driving a Lambo. You need to be having money. I have these cribs and people are bragging, which a lot of times is fake. But it makes you focus on the wrong thing. And I want you to look at this image. Money, fame, power should not be the goal. They're mere outcomes. They're a consequence. They're a result of you doing other things that are of excellence, that are higher worth to the marketplace, to society as a whole, and to yourself, to you becoming the best person you could be. That is focus on mastery, contribution, dignity, freedom, impact, integrity. Find a deeper why as to why you do things, and doing that thing excellent. The law of the market is when something is of value, the dollars is how they vote on the value of what you provide. Okay? And have a big why. It allows you to be more resilient on tough days because you have an internal direction. You have a bigger goal that you're working towards. It gives you a little bit more resilience through the ups and downs, which are natural. And it is tough. It's not easy. And a stronger internal foundation is what will allow you to put in all those other techniques, efforts, reps, improvement that ultimately you need to put in. Avoid the hustle culture mentality because direction matters more than volume. Working hard at the wrong thing will burn you out. Stabilize now to thrive later. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of a longer line, let's say your early 20s, for you're in the exact field you need to be, but what you want to do is very tough, it's very technical, it's very difficult. Not a lot of people do it, spending a good 3, 5, 6 years of mastering that before, boom, all of a sudden you are crushing it life is rewarding you, market is rewarding you, clients are rewarding you, and then you just scale from there. And even if you go from there, you could even go and set up your own company. So that's how it can happen on stable footing. Sometimes luck can happen, yes, I am aware of that, but more often than not, that temporary money, fame, and power crumbles just because the foundation was not laid on strong enough. But guys, this tough environment is the anvil where your professional impact is forged. Create opportunities for yourself, keep your head up, and we will get through this. Humanity is resilient, and I believe in the human spirit because look, we've gone through some insane things, and humanity has always come out on top. World wars, Spanish flus, diseases, multiple market crashes, the internet bubble, right? All of that. Heck, you can go as back as the Dark Ages. You can go as back as the plagues, the fall of empires. But was it the end of the world? No, it was not, because things tend to recorrect themselves. People, the ingenuity of people is awesome. Ultimately, a path forward will come out. And as threatening as AI may seem, I believe its ultimate form will be realized, and we're in the early stages now, that it's a great tool, but the tool user is a very important factor to it. Even if temporarily in the short term, the tool has slightly more value, it is important to start reintegrating these introduction level, entry level workers into the process, that eventually, as they increase their value with the tool utilization, they can exponentially bring more value to the marketplace. But overall, employees are consumers. It just makes sense that over the long term, it will restabilize to take care of the employees. And companies, by the way, some reports came out already bleeding a ton from the errors, hallucinations, and AI integrations that's going out there. And I think that it's further proof that the human component, in addition to it, is the link. I might be wrong, but this is something that I feel very strongly about. So what can we do? Come learn with us. If Even if it's not with Rippicular, learn interpersonal communication skills. If you decide to train with us, we have a training program for early career sales professionals, and here's what's included. So there are different options you can learn. If you are a self-study person, we have a 4-hour recorded lesson with quizzes and a very detailed crafted 118 pages handbook that goes over 8 structure modules, from the initial phase to the retention, right? Acquisition of the client, acquisition of the sale, acquisition of the project, whatever the case may be. It is a complete framework that allows you to also interject your personality. It's not a lot of the materials out there where, hey, you have to say it exactly like this. There's introverted people, there's outgoing people, there's funny people, there's serious people. Hey, a proper framework, a proper module should allow you to still be you. Otherwise, you're just living a weird life trying to be somebody else. So we here at Rippicular designed it with that in mind. And work can become extremely fun if you're doing it the right way, if you're still you, and you get more impact and more result from that. Office hours, we love responding to our community, whether it's direct messages, emails, heck, we could even set up calls. But as you choose to learn with us, should you decide to go forward with the program, we will do a bonus one-on-one full hour coaching customized to you, to your industry. I want to make sure, yes, you are getting access to everything else, but on top of it, let me go ahead and put the finishing touches to take all of that and do some final alignments to your exact field, your exact industry. I'd love to help you with that. So who is this for? We designed it for early career sales professionals, and career changers. You might have been in a more technical field and now you want to set up your own company. Guess what? You still need to make sure you get out there and get clients. That is a career changing, and a sales process has to be incorporated. So thank you. And hopefully this playbook has been helpful. And my Gen Z friends, don't give up hope. But and also very important, as tough as it is, please don't stay on the sidelines. Start playing the game. Start doing these things I suggested. I wish you nothing but luck from the bottom of my heart here. And us here at Rippicular team want to see you win. Don't be a stranger. Message us as we go. We're in this together. Collaboration, not domination. Rippicular out.